We are not alone. You are watching Contact TV with your hosts, Leslie Mitchell-Clark
and Wes Roberts,
exploring ufology, metaphysics, and beyond with the world's foremost experts.
And I am joined, as always, by my co-host and the producer of this show,
Wes Roberts.
Yes, and welcome once again to Contact TV. And we're very excited because we're welcoming someone to the program who is not only someone we have worked with, a colleague, someone we admire, but he is also a great friend, and he has never before appeared on this program. I don't know how that happened, but we are remedying it. Boy, that's hard to say, man. Remedying it right now, right as I speak. So it is my great pleasure to welcome to our program the MUFON Canada National President, our friend, a great guy, bon vivant, Dave Palachik. Dave, welcome to Contact TV.
Thank you very much to both of you. This is great. Wow. Yeah, that's quite an intro. But yes, I've never been on your program, and there's a reason for that.
Okay.
Is there?
Yeah, it's quite simple. I'm the guy who's always been hiding in the background. I do a lot of research. I do a lot of case studies. I do everything that everybody else does, but I don't put my name out there. And then I hand it off to people who have either requested or, you know, for MUFON Canada too. So when you called me and said, why haven't you been on? I said, well, I guess because nobody's asked me. So yes, you asked me. Of course I said yes. No, I'm just one of those guys.
It's that Stu Bundy. It's that pushy Stu Bundy. He's always trying to push himself in front of a camera. A refrigerator door opens and he does 15 minutes. God, that's Stu Bundy.
Let Stu do it. He's an ex-TV guy anyway, so let's do it.
We'll get back to Stu.
We will. Anyway, Dave, we're so thrilled that you're here, and I know you have so much information, and we really want to get to all of the topics that you had outlined. There's an awful lot going on. We're striving towards the new normal, and in some ways, I think that this period that we have been through involving COVID-19 has in some way triggered an upgrade of thinking and thought processes. So I'm interested to see what you think about that. But Wes, let me turn it over to you. I know you want to talk, outline a little bit about what Dave is going to talk about on the program.
You know, just to assure Dave and all our viewers, this is very organic, but I know, Dave, you're interested in talking about MUFON presentations, something called MADAR, which I do not know about, your upcoming podcast, so this sounds new, and what you see for the future. So we got at least 4 big ticket items. Let's see how far we get.
All right. Yeah. Hopefully we can get it all done in our time frame. I can talk, you know that. Don't get me really started.
Good. No, we want to get you started. That's why you're here. And, you know, normally I should interject probably. I think we'll probably be able to include some of Dave's very interesting photographic and video evidence that will be available on our Facebook page after and on YouTube after our program airs.
Yeah, send it along, Dave, and we'll get it out there.
Yeah.
I want to send some stuff that people are going to, you know, the shock and awe effect. Like, what? Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
I got a bit of that. And I'm not talking about U.S. stuff. I'm talking about things that have happened in Canada. So thanks, Wes. You know what? We're going to start off with the sad news, the bad news first, and get it over with. Okay. So the world all knows that MUFON International or MUFON U.S. had a very, very newsworthy event. And that was regarding our executive director, Jan Harzan. So it was a big shock to me because I know Jan personally. I've been down to the U.S., met him, worked with him, talked to him on the phone, emails, and all that. But every national director who's had that close relationship is also like, can't believe what's going on. So Jan was charged, arrested on July 3rd with basically going to get underage sex. And, you know, and like, what a shock. So everybody is backing off and saying, well, MUFON, this is the end of MUFON. First of all, I want to say that, no, it's not the end of MUFON because one person does not, you know, state what the organization is all about. This is a volunteer organization worldwide, over 500 investigators, worldwide. There's over 5,000, I think it's now 10,000 members who are contributing members. But with the 500 investigators around the world, Jan does not represent those 500 people. He represents the principles of MUFON, and he did a great job talking about MUFON, promoting MUFON, everything that he was hired to do. So this was a big shock that he was charged. We didn't find out about it until the world found out about it on Monday, July, what was this week?
This past Monday, right?
This past Monday, yeah. And including MUFON headquarters. It was a big shock. It hit worldwide news before we even knew about it. So the one thing I really want to specify here is that MUFON Canada is an international chapter. So we abide by the MUFON guidelines, the rules. We use the database. We follow the same principles, but we run our chapter differently. Why? First of all, because we're Canadian. So we do things a little differently. We're not as aggressive when we're investigating or interviewing witnesses. It's in an interview, not an interrogation. And we also want to close and help the people understand why they reported something, what it was they reported. So it has affected us personally, but it has not affected the organization. And my entire team in Canada is rallied behind the decision to remove Jan, as the board of directors decided to do. And we've internally appointed Dave McDonald, who was the past executive director, and he has stepped in. So, you know, to find out a friend of yours has a really dark side, wow. What can I say?
Yeah.
All I can say, do is everybody else assume he's innocent until the court says he's not. Jan coming back, if he was innocent, no, it probably won't happen. It's a black mark, you know, against him, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Was it a bad judgment? Did he get caught in a trap? We don't know. And I'm not going to speculate. I'm not going to make any more comments on it, but MUFON Canada is going to continue to uphold the principles of MUFON, which is basically research and cataloging for the betterment of humankind. That's all there is to it. So.
Exactly. And, you know, of course, this has absolutely nothing to do with the real work, which you are doing, Dave Palachik. And also, you know, if I may interject, the Experience Your Research program headed up by Kathy Martin, that is going great guns. Better.
Absolutely.
The numbers are staggering. And so, you know, your people like yourself who are doing the real work, our integrity, MUFON Canada is unchanged, and you know we hold ourselves to the highest possible standards.
We're supporters of MUFON Canada, absolutely behind it.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll
Absolutely,
continue
Dave.
doing the work that we're doing and continue to improve it, expand it, get the word out there, and that's one of the things I'm going to be talking about next. But yeah, it was a sad day on Monday, and we'll recover from it. In a month or two from now, nobody even mention it. You know, that's just human nature, right? But it was a shock.
And if it does turn out to be true, then think in terms of, you know, he will get the help that he needs, and many young people will not have been assaulted. So, you know, we have to look at this, and we also have to look at those wonderful, brave officers who night and day are on the pedophilia exposure path, and the ones that are so skilled that they're able to pose as young children and, you know, lure these very sick individuals in. So all kudos to them. Absolutely.
Yeah, I know what to go through because I've had two friends who were undercover officers, and yeah, and they sometimes had to talk about things, you know, privately, one-on-one, and you know, when you're best friends with somebody, you listen. It's all you can do. You should listen. Also, I don't know if you know, but I was a search and rescue volunteer trained by the National Department of Defense.
Oh, I don't think I knew that.
I did not know that.
Okay, so I did that for 5 years in a group called OVERT, which is the Ontario Volunteer Emergency Response Team. Fully trained, fully uniformed people called out by police forces all over Ontario. I'll give them a little plug. It's overt.ca, OVERT.ca. I was a communications commander for 5 years, working in the mobile trailers that we'd haul to a site, and we'd have 50, 60, 70 volunteers out who were well-trained, and we would go out and find people. So a lot of the cases we're finding from people who are Alzheimer's, wandered away in the woods, into congested areas, people who unfortunately went out to commit suicide, pulled a lot of bodies out of rivers and out of trees. Young people that actually were abducted, and the three biggest cases in Toronto, which was Holly Jones, Alexis Curry, and Cecilia Yang. I ran those cases with the police. So I have a little bit of a background in that. After 5 years of being on call 24 hours a day, getting called out at 3 a.m. at minus 40 degrees, it finally took a bit of a toll on me. Not emotionally or just more physically than anything else, because I actually took and have my 911 operator certificate. I took the course because 90% of learning to be a 911 operator is stress management.
Yeah.
Which is probably why I can do this job.
So
You're
prepared for anything.
I loved the course. It was amazing. They put you through hell in that course, for stress management.
So that is overt.ca.
Overt.ca. If anybody young person out there wants to volunteer in Ontario, boy, that's
very good. Thank you.
Very rewarding. You have to be very dedicated. You're gonna have to spend some money. You got to buy a uniform and stuff, but they are looking for numbers, and I just decided to retire from it. So
okay.
Anyway, that was
and
fun.
I imagine that they would also accept donations.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're totally non-government funded, and you know what they do? They run bingos to make money.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Well, as a good Irish Catholic and a Polish Catholic girl, I think the bingo thing really works.
I don't want to play bingo anymore. I went to too many bingo games working. Under the bee, never mind. So, how do we get on that? Anyways, yeah, that's because of what's going on. But so let's talk about you, Wes. You mentioned it. What's the future of MUFON and stuff like that? So let me get into MUFON Canada. So as you know, I took over the operations, the national director, president, January 1st of this year. Mark St. Germain was doing a fantastic job, but he got a new job and was flying around the world, so he had to step down. Before this position, I was a national chief executive. National chief investigator of Canada. So I've seen every case that comes through, and I still see every case that comes through, which is about 500-600 a year for Canada. 1/10 of the US, because we're 1/10 the size. Everything comes proportionally. So I took this on in January, and I sat down and started a number of things. I decided to change how we do things. The first thing is, we're all over the country. Nobody gets to meet each other unless they decide to come to ACE, which didn't happen this year, the Alien Cosmic Expo, because of COVID. So I started doing what we're doing now, group meetings on Skype. And we have an Easternly, Westernly, and Central meeting every quarter. And the FIs, the field investigators, now actually getting to see each other and talk to each other. And things are actually working a lot better. They don't feel like they're alone doing this work. I also created an executive board for Canada, and MUFON, because we can do what we need to do, MUFON says you have to have the executives, you have to have state directors, which in this case will be provincial directors. When I was chief investigator, I was also the provincial director of every province that didn't have a PD. I get rid of the provincial directors. I'll tell you right now, no more provincial directors. Instead, the next level down is the chief investigator, and we now have regional chief investigators. So all the FIs can reach out to the regional chief investigators for help and for assistance. So they feel like, hey, I'm not alone anymore. They can also reach out to our national chief investigator, which is Jason Kerrigan. I worked with him and just kept prodding him and pushing him. And next thing you know, he's like, you're our next national chief investigator because you have the drive and the skills. And what he does for a job is he flies drones over mines to do seismic analysis to know where to blast next.
Gosh.
Great drone pilot.
Man, that's incredible. By the way, I just spoke to him, and he is a absolutely lovely person,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously highly intelligent, and a really wonderful representative for MUFON, for anybody really. I'm very happy to be working with him, and
Yeah.
I was just I didn't know him previously, so I was extremely impressed with him.
Yeah, and you know he's part of our ERT, our experience and research team in Canada. So
Yes,
you'd be
yes,
really getting to know him for that.
yes.
Yeah, I'm very pleased to work with Jason almost every day. Lately, it has seemed to be every day. And and then of course, then there is myself at the top, and Stu Bundy, our special advisor, and Andre Moran in Quebec, who was a previous national investigator before Stu, and he is helping, to spread the word, and he kept sending out email campaigns. So we went from about 20 some odd members in the short 6 months to over 50 now.
Right.
So everybody's out there going, yeah, let's get more information about MUFON Canada. And we've got all these new FIs who are training right now and coming on board. And so it means more people to work on cases, more people to investigate them, so that nobody's rushing anything because they're overloaded. And yeah, we seem to be doing much better. The witnesses are getting proper answers. They love it. We're populating the database, which is part of MUFON International. We only have one server, so but we have over 110,000 cases on that server now. So that's quite a bit. I will tell you right now, the stats, when I started, which is 6 or 7 years ago, actually it might be 8 now, I can't remember, went from 4 to 5% as being truly unknown UFO sightings. We're up over 8% now. And it's
That's
like,
significant.
wow, that's a doubling.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I have seen some things that might scare the normal person, but you know what? I love it, and I really, really enjoy this work. So, so yeah, we've grown MUFON Canada, and we're going to continue to grow MUFON Canada. And one of the ways we're going to do it is to get the word out, which is really difficult when you're jailed in your own home. I think everybody on the planet should be given a reprieve. If they ever get arrested for something, well, you've already served time. Oh my
Good
God.
behavior.
All that was
going
missing
nuts.
was the ankle bracelet, I tell you.
God, I'm going nuts. Anyways, my dogs just came in. This is also what's happening during these times.
Yes.
All those people doing live newscasts and stuff, are always having their dogs interrupt them. Hello, say hello, Caden.
Oh.
That's my baby.
Is he a standard poodle?
He is a standard poodle. He's 2 years old next month. Hey, Caden.
Hello.
And his little
heart.
companion, who's half his size, is Kira. This is Caden. Kira is 9 years old, and she's kind of looking at the door trying to figure out what's going on.
Oh.
You get down?
Look at that big wet nosy.
You get down?
Look at that beautiful nosy.
He's famous.
He's
pretty and
he
he's
just came to
famous.
get some food.
Well, he's a
His head's on my
beauty.
lap.
He's a beautiful boy. Oh my goodness.
So it happens to everybody. See, my dog came running in. My dog.
That's right. They love to.
So MUFON Canada is expanding like crazy right now, and that's what it's going to do in the future. That's part of it.
That's what it's going to do, because how we're really going to do it. As soon as we are allowed to go out and congregate in more than 10 people, we have a series of presentations planned. And I have a dozen volunteers right across Canada who are members of MUFON Canada, just as supporting members, not even field investigators, who have signed up to get our presentation because it's a PowerPoint. And they're going to go to libraries, and libraries will help you. If you want to do a presentation, they'll advertise it for you.
Oh, yeah.
And in service groups like Toastmasters, the Lions, the Lionesses, the Rotary Clubs. So we're going to do as many presentations as we can once we get lifted. And the presentation will be, well, I want to give it away because I did one just before we got locked down, and I couldn't believe the response. And it's a different type of presentation. But they also got to learn a lot about MUFON Canada, and I think everybody in that room signed up to be a member because they wanted to get our newsletters.
That's beautiful.
It was only 20 some odd people. We did one in Belleville just a couple weeks before that, and that was well taken. Everybody's asking me for more, and I'm going, I can't do it. We're not allowed to do it.
Yeah.
So we're going to get out there. Then, of course, a lot of my FIs are saying, well, I'll do 1 or 2 a year. I know what's going to happen. We're going to love it and go out and continue to do more.
Mm-hmm.
Out in Alberta, just before we got locked down, we had an opportunity to go talk to an after-school program of more gifted children in the age of 7 to 14.
Uh-huh.
And I had Beverly Bunker do that. And she's one of our ERT members.
Mm-hmm.
And the response I got back from the people organized it was like, this was incredible. Because we don't go out there and say UFOs are real. We go out there and present the facts about what's happening in our skies, what's happening in our universe. And every child just, the questions that they asked were so amazing. Beverly just kept talking about it over and over, trying to tell me everything that happened in that 2-hour presentation. So, you know, we've got literature. I got 3,000 copies of some literature we're ready to be able to hand out. And we're going to get little fridge magnets for the kids where they can get more information so they can take them home to their parents, you know. But we're going to do a lot more of that. So we're looking for, let's educate the younger minds because their minds are a lot more open.
Yeah.
Again, nice, simple presentations, more about astronauts and stellar things. And, you know, I'll get to the point that, so how could we be alone? You've heard about UFOs and no scare factors. Definitely not Hollywood. We are not Hollywoodizing any of this.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to doing that. And I'm working on the presentations every day because I'm got time. And hopefully we're going to get that word out. And, you know, sorry, my computer just started up again. I keep looking all over because I have 3 monitors in front of me. And Joe Rogan's over here trying to get me to listen to him, so I just shut him down. He interviewed George Knapp and Jerry Corbell last night.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Boy,
again.
those guys have been overexposed.
Well,
Pardon me.
I will drop the bombshell right now on your show. Jeremy Corbell has agreed to come on to be one of our first people on the new MUFON Canada UFO Primer podcast.
Oh, incredible.
Fantastic.
But he's not going to be talking about everything that everybody's going to have already asked him. He has promised us he's going to disclose something that he cannot do in the U.S. For the first time ever on public broadcast.
Wow, this is a real teaser, man.
And I can't say any more about it, but it's like,
whoa.
Oh, when are you going to get on? We've had so much trouble getting him online to do it because he was with Joe Rogan last night in person.
Yeah.
He was in California, of course. And George Knapp will probably be one of our people too. We've got a huge lineup of people. You guys are invited. I already told you, you're going to be on. We're going to talk about experiences.
Fabulous.
So we've got a little bit of everything with ufology covered. We also have witnesses of cases, very important cases that are going to come on and be interviewed. And they'll be interviewed by the field investigator who did the case. So, yeah, I am the executive producer of MUFON Canada UFO Primer. But I'm not the host. Every episode will have a different host, that host being one of our own field investigators. So I want them all to have the chance and exposure, and they get to interview people that they know and have brought into our list of people we're going to interview. So we're going to go out and talk, and we're going to get online and talk. Now, I know everybody's doing podcasts, but I think we have a little bit more to offer. Basically, the video podcasts are not just audio. And I got a lineup of, you're the first ones I agreed to, by the way, to do this, but I got 5 more people waiting for me to come on. So they said I could all produce, promote our podcast. So ours is a video, like yourself. It's I'm doing the production, editing, and all that. It's going to be interesting. But basically, it's called Embracing the Future because you have no idea what's coming down. Okay? Well, you guys know. You know we're in mini disclosure still.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think about what's going to happen?
Micro disclosure.
What, micro? No, I moved it up to mini now. We've moved it up a step.
Has it?
Well, with the Tic Tac and the Go Fast and the Nimitz thing.
The Tic Tac, yes.
It moved it up a bit. It moved it up. You do know that they released 9 more videos this year after that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why I'm calling it mini disclosure now. So there's a big rumor that something's going to happen in November, and I think it's just to let some word out that's going to discredit Trump. But don't get me started on Trump.
I'm with you. I'm with you, brother.
This is an annual thing. This is an annual thing, isn't it? A rumor of something coming out in the fall is an annual thing.
And it's happened almost every year.
Yeah.
December 2017, they released the Tic Tac. November of 2018, they released another video. I can't remember which one that was. And then they broke it up by releasing a whole bunch of stuff 2 months ago. So maybe they're going to make it a semi-annual thing. All they know is I'm really hoping, because the sources I have that are telling me this are reliable. Okay.
All right. So I believe you, Dave.
Let's see what happens.
That's fantastic news.
I'm going to be very disappointed if it doesn't happen.
You are just dropping bombshells.
Yeah.
You really are.
Disclosure's coming in our lifetime.
Yes. Yes, it is.
I used to believe when I was a little kid that disclosure would never come in our lifetime. But that was many years ago.
Indeed.
Many years ago.
And it took, I know, of course, we could have a lot of discussions about how controlled is online media, how much of it is actually free and how much of it is being influenced. Well, that's always a question. But one thing is for sure, we can communicate together globally.
Yes.
And there's so much of that going on that the information is being shared and disseminated in spite of some governments.
This is true.
They're trying.
And I know that, one thing that, we, of course, we both are, Randy Kramer very well. Captain Kramer has said that there is no, what shall I say? There is no world power on the globe that does not have a secret space program. So we have they all have it. So this is we're talking about global disclosure, and I believe that this Pope is the disclosure Pope.
Do you really think Canada has one?
Well, maybe we participate in one.
I think we're the 51st state when it comes to stuff like that. So, but that's right. Trudeau and Trump hate each other right now, so maybe we will become our own. Did I say that publicly? Yes, I did.
You say it out loud. You did.
Yeah, I did. So I hope something happens in November. I hope something happens in the next year or two. And I know if you look at all the people who are down there lobbying the government, lobbying, Grant Cameron, everybody else, Nick Pope, all these people that I talk to all the time. I don't want to drop names, but there's so much pressure on the U.S. government to maybe relax a little bit and stop with the swamp gas and weather balloons. Yeah, the 50s. I'm glad I'm not that super old, but anyways. But look at the South American countries. You're well aware of who Rob Freeman is, right? So he goes down to Chile and he goes down to Brazil and they open the doors. What do you want to know? It's all on video and it's all coming out this year on a History Channel about his quest to do making contact, which I've been part of. I've gone around a couple places around with him, and he supports MUFON and we support him. And so like he keeps saying it's going to happen, it's going to happen. He feels it, and everything else he's talked about since I've known him for the last 6 or 7 years, he has basically said it's come true. It's been right, because he's flying all over the world. So in 14 countries now, talking to real people and government officials, but real people who have watched all this. He's out there going to the spots where people, and openly, talk about what's going on. But I can't believe the videos I shot when he was in some general's office down in South America, and the guy says, "Here's their files, take what you want."
What's our problem is the question.
Yeah. Well, it's fear of I think it's fear of the release of the advanced technology, really, that would then perhaps affect the greed factor of the current ruling of fascisti. So, I think it really is about, and of course, Corso, God bless him. I mean, he talked in great detail about the original way that this was handled. And it was basically a divide and conquer where, you get this little bit of technology so you can do the fiber optics, you get this and you can do Velcro, and it was all disseminated into the public sector of the military industrial complex, and it has never gotten back under the control of the legitimate government.
No, it hasn't. And
Never.
the shadow government, the big corporations running the shadow government for profit, greed, you know, whatever.
Mhm.
You know that some of the stuff that we have now could not have been done in the short period of time that they've done it unless we had help. I mean, if you look at the history of the world and what we know, the progress in technology innovation, it's a slow process. But suddenly in the last 50 years, it is accelerated to a point where it's almost unbelievable. So what you don't know is I've got a background in electronic engineering, and I teach at a college as a professor part-time. I also have a background in nuclear engineering. Okay, I don't make that public, but I took 2 years of nuclear engineering at Brock University. I didn't finish it because my father passed away, no more money, nobody could get me a grant, but somebody came in and gave me a grant to go to a private college to get electronic engineering. So I jumped at the court, at the opportunity, and I ended up working for IBM as a computer engineer for many years. So I have seen products come out that when I look at the technology, because I understand all of it, I'm going, this is 50 years ahead of its time. This could not have been done unless somebody leapfrogged us. You mentioned fiber optics, Leslie. I did my thesis on fiber optics this morning, and I'm going, who helped you? Because this is 100 years in advance. And look what it did for us, because once you got fiber optics and lasers and communications, that method, the door's wide open. So I do believe that we've been helped. Every country in the world, is not just the US. Let's not point the fingers at the US. Canada's done some stuff. Look at the innovations Canada's done. You know, don't just think about it as hockey and baseball, or basketball, sorry, hockey and basketball we invented, and penicillin. There's so many other things. And Hawaiian pizza, my favorite.
I love it. Me too.
Read about that recently.
Hawaiian pizza.
It's my
I love it.
fave.
Yeah, what was the guy thinking when he said, I'll put fruit on a pizza? Oh my God.
I love it.
Thank you. Anyway, we are, or were for many years, the innovators in technology. And a lot of our brain people went to the US because they got paid more. So anyways, I think something's going on, and we need to get to the bottom of it. You know, they've been reverse engineering things. I'll be honest with you, I was on the fence for many years talking about Bob Lazar, but I did a lot of research into him, of everything he said, watched every single document that was put out, especially Jeremy Corbell's, staring at me over here because I paused Joe Rogan. And there was too much that was correct for me not to believe it. Okay, not 100%. I'm never 100% of everything. I have good, healthy skepticism in me. As Rob Freeman in his Making Contact for Atmospheric Anomalies team says, we got something, send it to Dave. He's going to debunk it for us. Don't call me debunker. Yeah, well, we know you debunk things in order to prove what it really is. You know, if you can't debunk it, it's really something. So he quite often sends me things before it's even published, and I go through it. And because of my background, electronics and electronic security, I do forensic analysis of videos. He gets me these files, and I tell him what it is. And if I tell him it's not a UFO, he goes, I kind of was leaning that way, so thank you for confirming. But when I tell him it is a UFO, I've never seen a guy jump so high. And they were the ones who made the 2017 top UFO reports in the world when they had the Squamish BC orb, which made the publication. So look that one up, Squamish BC orb, Rob Freeman. It's the largest orb we've ever captured. It was 8 feet in diameter. And it was traveling about 35 kilometers an hour, and it lit up a whole forest when it went in behind the trees. You've got to look at that one. It's on YouTube everywhere.
Dave, what do you think do you think that was some type of cloaking device for a ship, or what do you think, what do you think that actually was? I mean, that's so unusual for an orb to be that size.
Yeah, and you know what? And we've seen orbs as small as 8 inches. And they've been captured, and most of them around 2 feet, 3 feet, and then suddenly we have an 8-foot one. Well, I have a couple theories. Leslie, I agree with your first one. that it's a cloaking device or it's an aura and there's something in between. And everybody goes, well, how can a spaceship fit an 8-inch or 8-foot orb? Well, people, size is irrelevant. We could have a world with people that are 1 inch tall and they're giants to other people. So they could have a 2-foot wide device. Like, size is irrelevant. And don't get caught up in, well, it's got to be 6 feet or 5'10". What's the average? 5'7". So is it a ship? I don't think so. Is it something that's been sent to do a couple of things? Reconnaissance, observation? Yes, that's one possibility. If it is a cloaking device, then yeah, obviously it could be a ship or some device and it's cloaked, or it's the aura it puts out because of its anti-gravity or thrust mechanisms, or however it propels itself. And the other possibility is it's a energy gathering device. Because why there's so many videos of it suddenly leaving the atmosphere and taking off into our solar system? It could be returning energy that's not available on other planets. Now, what that energy is, I don't know. They've caught orbs hovering over lakes, and suddenly there's little streams going up. And are they taking water? Well, a little orb's not going to carry a lot of water, but it could be taking the oxygen or the helium or the hydrogen, who knows, in molecular form to reproduce it. So it's quite a possibility. It's the same way I don't believe UFOs only come from outer space. Again, there's 4 or 5 possibilities, and rattling them on. One is time travel, you know, outer space, yeah, another dimension, yes, or parallel worlds. We don't know until we have one in our hand. So, you know, there's quite a possibility. So I always keep that mind open to all these things when we're investigating things. You haven't asked me if I've seen something.
Oh, you're on a roll.
Yeah, Dave, tell us about something you've seen.
Yes, for sure.
And and then also perhaps this doesn't have to be a visual story necessarily, but maybe one of the most intriguing cases that you have come across, perhaps in your career or even previous to that in MUFON, something that was just startling.
Well, have I seen something? Have I seen a UFO? I can simply say no. Have I seen something that is identified as a UAP or unknown? Yes. So the biggest one that I've seen was when we were in the Mojave Desert in 2017 with Rob Freeman and a group, sitting around doing the CE5 experience in the middle of the Mojave Desert at 2 o'clock in the morning, chasing the scorpions away and watching out for snakes. And I was looking up and I went, well, I won't say what I said, and turned on my laser, pointed in the right direction. Everybody turned around. There's about 15 of us there. And we watched an orb descend down into the valley, turn a hard left, shoot back the opposite way, come right at us and take off. And it was the orangey, green to orangey colored. I estimated it was about 3 or 4 feet. And it literally, it was not man-made. It was not something. And it was clearly an orb. And it was glowing, that phosphorus type of looking, and that incredible glow, changing colors. No pulsing lights, but it was, it looked translucent. So that was the first big one that I saw. I've seen other little things, but have I seen a UFO and spaceship land? No. But do I need to do that to believe? No. I know it'll happen one of these days. I keep my eyes open. I keep my eyes up. I'm also keeping my eyes open looking for security cameras because that's what I do. Big Brother's watching. I'm really bad at that. I'll walk into a room and people say, "Oh, this is a pretty crowded place." Yeah, there's 2 cameras over there and there's an exit over there in case you got to leave quickly.
Jason
Bad
Bourne.
habit.
It's Jason
Bad
Bourne
habit.
here.
That's right.
How do I get out of this situation? How do I get out of the room?
Gotta know.
Watch out for the security cameras. I need a drink.
That's right. You got to know when to, well, as Burt Bacharach said, knowing when to leave is the smartest thing anyone can learn, right?
Yeah. I always have a note. So that answers the question, have I seen anything? Yes. So let me talk about something that I investigated, and I'm thrilled about it. It was, again, I think 2017, maybe 2016. It was Hass Lake, Alberta. And somebody sent us a report, said, look, we don't know what this is. We bought a brand new drone. We're out flying it, trying to get the colors, the beautiful colors. And apparently we're a little late. Everything's gone yellow now. But something passed the drone. So he sent me the video and I broke it all down and looked at it. So an object, I'll make it simple, an object came out of a tree 600 meters away, and it only took 6 frames to pass the drone. 600 meters is 6 frames. Doing the math, which I had verified, I am a professor, it passed the drone at Mach 12.
Holy.
From standing still.
Wow.
Because we saw where it came from. The object, or the UAP, was only about 2 feet in dimension. We don't know how long it was, because in the last picture where you can clearly see it, it's a long blur because it's flying by at Mach 12. So even at the high shutter speed, the drone is not going to stop it. It's not going to be frozen in time. And it's a long blur. So I sent that down to MUFON, the US too. And there's an ex-NASA engineer who's an investigator. I can't give his name. He sent it back saying, oh my God, this is amazing. And you're right, it's doing Mach 12 and still accelerating. I said, yeah, I know it's accelerating because we went from standing still and past this at Mach 12. It's still accelerating. I'm going to send you that video. Unfortunately, the guy got so excited about it, he put it. He gave it to some production company there, and they made a big YouTube video of it, and they kind of screwed it off because they didn't even put the right numbers that I gave them in, and they made it sound like it was even bigger than it was. But the fact to see something going Mach 12, we can't do that. So that 2-foot shape might have been as big as having the ISS in relative size, right? We don't know. 2 months later, I get a call from another FI in the States and says, Dave, go to this channel real quick. I jumped on a YouTube channel. Some guy caught the exact same looking device in the United States, passing his drone at Mach 17.
Whoa.
This year, we had another sighting. It looks almost identical, and it's doing Mach 6 or 7. It's like, okay, our fastest plane in the US, their fastest plane, can do just Mach 3 or a little bit over. They won't tell you what it can do, but we know there's one that can do just over Mach 3. Most of them do 2.2, 2.3. How in the hell could you survive in a craft doing Mach 6, Mach 12, Mach 17? And, you know, like if you're in a bubble and nothing affects you inside the bubble, of course you can survive. How did the Tic Tac do a left-hand turn at 20,000 miles an hour? Like, all that stuff still has to be investigated. We still have to understand how it works. And maybe Bob Lazar is right, anti-gravity engines. And yeah, if you have a bubble around your ship that's protecting you, like Star Trek Enterprise, you know, when they have their dampening field on, you know, and they take a left turn and they don't get hurt, it's quite possible. It's very possible. So that one I will send you. It's the Hass Lake drone video. I broke it all up. We have actual still shots within the video, so you can see it coming at you.
Is that?
And we'll send that to you.
Dave, are you saying there's occupants in those?
We don't know. There could be. Sure, why not?
Oh,
like
no
I say,
reason why
size
not.
is irrelevant. Why not?
Or David, you know, I mean, it could also be possible that we're thinking of beings in terms of ourselves in the third density. Maybe there are beings that can convert to a gaseous form, or a, you know, I mean, maybe they don't have to, you know, space is just as mutable as time, I suppose.
You watch too much Star Trek.
I know it, man.
The gaseous forms. What was that one?
I know, but they could be energy. They could be there could be interphasic beings, right?
Exactly. And it could be real small.
They could be.
So you know what? It's so funny. I believe that all the Hollywood movies we've seen, or all the Hollywood productions like Star Trek and you know, all these different sci-fi shows, it's not somebody's brain working in overtime. It's somebody who had an experience and turned that into an opportunity. Like the X-Files. We're finding out now that all the X-Files were based on some sort of report. Right?
Yeah.
It wasn't somebody dreaming it up. They took an idea in a report, and of course they Hollywoodized it, just like they did with Blue Book.
Yes.
I mean, like, I know that, you know, Heineken didn't do some of the stuff he did. He was not abducted, but that's Hollywood for you. They got to make the, you know, even our Hangar 1 program got a little Hollywoodized.
Yeah. Well, it was those non-union actors. That was the whole problem. Sorry.
So yes, there could be beings. I won't call them people. Beings, entities, and they also could be AI. They could be androids. And that's out there.
This is a
Yeah.
point. And,
Yep.
you know, one thing I would just throw in there, because I've heard about it, you know, a number of times, there seem to be beings that are able to easily project themselves holographically
Yes.
and don't really have to travel. And they say, well, you know, we could show up physically, but, you know, we'd have to jump through the wormhole, and why bother? They send themselves in a holographic image that is so sophisticated it can integrate with whatever beings are around.
Right.
So I know I have heard this these kinds of stunning things much more than once. So, and you know, I think I have to accept that, and also remember our, you know, our great Paul Hellyer, God bless him. What did he say, Dave? Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he said there was something like, as far as the Canadian government, 82 different civilizations that the Canadian government has dealings with.
Well, it's a high number, but it's not the truthful number. So as you know, Paul Hellyer, every time came to ACE, I was his personal chauffeur. I go down to Toronto and pick him to his house, pick him up, bring him back, and then I take him home. And I won't tell you about some of the conversations, but I had some conversations that are definitely off the record.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's writing one last book. He's 95 years old now, 96 this year.
Yeah.
He's writing one last book, and the things that he has told me are going to be in that book, apparently. So I said, you know, hey, I'm in the security division. I can keep a secret. So I am not going to talk about anything he told me until after the book is out.
Sure.
Right.
Same with Stanton Freeman. He told me things. Now, there's a couple of things I have here that I will eventually, but I need permission to give that stuff out. But now I will tell you the little story. Now, you and I met at some little place somewhere in Toronto when you were doing a presentation. Stu and I came down. That was 6 or 7 years ago. And then we met again at ACE number 2 in Brampton. So at ACE number 2 in Brampton, which I was obviously working because we are always helping Joanne, and now we look after it. Another conversation. I was in the presentation, and some big, tall, blonde woman came in and sat right in front of me, just to my left. And I noticed her because she came in and sat down, and there's 2 seats empty because I was shooting some video, so I had made sure nobody sat in front of me. And she turned around and she looked at me, and I looked at her and I went, you look interesting. Which person is Victor? Victor Vigiani. And I said, the gentleman at the mic who's the MC. I thought so. Okay, thank you. And she got up and left. And I thought that was the shortest conversation. She's not watching what's going on. This is the big, you know, meeting in the big grand ballroom, you know. And she got up and left. And I turned to somebody just sitting to my right, and they were looking at me the whole time and talking to me. And then this lady interrupted. And I said, don't you think that was odd that that lady asked me the question, who's Victor? And the guy looked at me and said, what lady?
Oh, boy.
I almost fell off my seat. I got up, ran out to see if I could find her. She was nowhere to be found.
Right, right. Yeah.
I've only told 2 people that story, and both those 2 people are trying to figure out what happened. And if you look at Anunnaki pictures or even pictures way back on Ancient Aliens, but she had that look, and it's like, did I just talk to an ET or hybrid human? And nobody saw her?
I think you did talk to an ET, and from what I understand, it's not. There are many people who work or involved intimately with various ufology conventions, have had experiences similar to what you were talking about. Wes, do you recall the Reverend? He wrote a book. He wrote a book about it.
Yeah, the blue beings
about
blue people.
The aliens at the ufology convention.
He met with a few. He wasn't the only one. And everybody was sort of put on hold for a time. And he was pretty obsessed with it from that point.
Yeah.
And where did that happen, Wes? Where did that happen?
It was at a UFO conference. It wasn't ACE. I have his book. I have his book kicking around here.
I think it was one of those. It was one of those ones like a star. One of the ones that's down in the Southwest. Star Paolo Harris's. What is that called? Forgive me, my brain.
Oh, I know the one Paulo was always involved in. Yes, I know the one you're talking about.
I think it was that, and it was in the Southwest. somewhere.
I'm very interested to do more research on this because I really have kind of just put it in the back of my mind. And the good thing is I have a very photographic memory. I can't draw worth a damn, but I can picture her face even today. And this is what, 5 or 6 years later. Oh, by the way, this year would have been Ace, not MUFON. I wouldn't say MUFON.
Shoot that moose.
This would have been Ace number, not 5.
It's 6, right?
As I heard you guys said, this would have been Ace number
6?
Keep
6
going.
or 7. And
3 in
we
Brampton.
weren't a part of them all, so.
And 3 in Toronto.
Yeah.
Because we were at the one hotel, then we did 2 at the Marriott. That's 6. This would have been Ace number 7.
That's right. There was
Time
only
flies if you can't even remember.
Yeah.
We weren't part of them all, Dave. We're not
Oh, I know
gonna
you
go
weren't.
there.
There was just
I
one,
only missed
I
one.
think.
I only missed one.
Only one. Only
Yeah,
one.
wow.
The very first one in Brampton, because it wasn't sent out to the UFO communities. It was sent to the holistic and stuff, and even though it was called ACE, and then it suddenly took off when we came to the second one and MUFON got involved. So,
Yeah. Yeah, we had
So-
halls. We had halls full of massage therapists, and
Yes.
it was like a wave of eucalyptus oil that you could not avoid.
Well, I kept very relaxed during Ace number 2 because I was always being, Dave, come sit here and get a massage because we want to get more people over. Like, you're working here. We know you're working here, but you need a break. I must have 10 massages that second one.
Okay, ACE 2021.
Ace 2021 is definitely on, right, Leslie?
It's on.
We will be working on that together.
It is it's a reimagining, a regrouping.
Yeah.
A lot of ideas and are coming up in ways to make it available, and we're talking about all kinds of things.
Yeah, I know we are because we're all involved in it. So I look at the fact that we couldn't have one this year as a blessing because we get to revisit it, re-energize it,
Yes,
and make
yes.
it even better. And I'm looking forward to 2021. Yeah, East 2021. So
Indeed,
So we're
and I'm
down
sure
to 5
after.
minutes. I'm sorry to interrupt this.
Oh,
all.
okay, that's fine.
My apologies. We can do 2 of these, you know, Dave. We're able
Well,
to do that.
I've gotten everything I don't want to talk about for now, but you know, there's a lot more I can get into, and we can do another one in a couple months or whatever. But you know, I do have to concentrate on getting our special guests that I've only announced one so far.
Yes.
Up and running, and then I know what's going to happen once you see the first one, which is not going to premiere till basically late summer or the fall.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be calling me because you want more information.
Yes. Well, I think you should, Dave. I think you should come on if you wish every couple months and just give a MUFON
sure.
update.
I do-
Because there's so
yeah.
much happening that there's always plenty to talk about, and we need to be more MUFON Canada centric because there's an awful lot happening here.
The little girl
I
just came in.
wanted to ask you, Dave, is there a way people can get a hold of you? Is there a website you want to direct them to?
Yeah, here's the little one.
Oh,
Oh, little puppy.
Okay.
Here's the little one. No, she's the 9-year-old one.
Oh, but I
She's
mean,
been dying to come in.
Of
She's
course.
been sitting there staring at him at the whole time, dying to come in. Okay, how do you get hold of MUFON Canada? MUFON Canada, definitely different from MUFON US or international. MUFONCanada.com. If you want information, info@MUFONCanada.com.
Okay.
We have a Facebook page with 7,000 followers. So just go on to Facebook, type in MUFON Canada, find our page. We also have a YouTube channel, which is basically all interviews. Leslie, you're up there on it. Paul Hellier's on there. Grant Cameron's on it. Everybody we have interviewed is on our YouTube channel, MUFON Canada. And please, for those who are listening, please subscribe because we need a little bit of support. We need to get 1,000. We're at 917 today. We need to get 1,000 people because I am trying to get a sponsor to help us.
All right.
Because we do have
that's
some
just a
production
little
costs.
distance. We can do
We're
that.
very close.
Yeah. We're almost
Well,
there.
I sent a lot of requests out, and we went from it's just 800 all the way up to 917 or 927, wherever we're at. So we're almost there, and there's a little bit of production cost the way we're going to be doing this. So, you know, we're trying to raise some funds to do that because the few people who've been paying for MUFON Canada's expenses the last couple of years are really tired of doing it. And I'm not going to mention our favorite fun guy who's been on TV many times and myself. Oh, I didn't say that. So anyways, listen, I really appreciate this. Is fun. I'll come on every couple months and we'll do some updates. We'll do some case updates and bring to you the highlights of what's really happening. and report back on our progress and how we're expanding. And hopefully we won't have to talk about what happened on Monday.
No,
But,
we're not. We're just gonna file that
That's
and
just
let
for the
Dave.
record.
File it away. Goodbye.
done.
We're
Thank
gonna
you.
file it. And
Yeah.
Dave, we have once things go to phase 3, we have a date for some serious pierogies, man.
Oh man, you know my dad was Hungarian, so give me
I know.
pierogies. Half
I
Polish,
know.
half Hungarian. Like, give me those pierogies.
Yes.
I love them. I'll bring the
Yeah,
goulash.
yeah.
I don't speak anything but English, though, unfortunately.
That's fine, man.
Anyway.
Thank you, Dave Palachik. It's been just a delight having you here. And of course, we are very thrilled that you are now the national president of MUFON Canada, and all of your information will be up on our Facebook page and some of your cool clips as well. And we look forward to having you back in a couple of months with more goodies.
My pleasure. Definitely look forward to it.
All
Thank
right,
you so
Dave.
much, Dave.
Thank you,
We'll catch
Wes.
you again
Thank you,
soon.
Leslie. Always a
Thank
pleasure.
you so much.
All
All right, folks,
Cheers.
no matter when it is, good night, good day from us. And remember, we are not alone. Okay. Thank
Bye-bye,
you.
everyone.
Good night.
Thank you for watching Contact TV.
We would like to thank our generous sponsors, Lightwork Hypnosis, UFOria and the UFOria Chronicles, Earth Mystery News, Conspiracy Culture Books, MUFON Canada, Free Experiencers, the Dr. Edgar Mitchell Foundation for Research into Extraterrestrial Encounters, and Variety Store Productions.
For guest booking information, please email Wes Roberts at producer@contacttv.ca. And don't forget to join us on Facebook and Twitter.